Well, you're much more festive than I had anticipated.
Were you surprised?
I was. I just got off the phone with you 2 seconds ago.
This is my fabulous mermaid visor.
Beautiful.
It was a gift from Jen at Creative Devs, who does all of our fantastic graphics and animations.
Right.
And I have to shout out right here on Insta, it's Evolve, Revolt, Repeat. Eve Sanford at ERR Looks designs all of these. And because I'm fancy, I like orchids and hydrangeas and peonies and whatnot. It had to be custom made. Apparently, I had no idea Jen was going through all this trouble, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I said, all of my Zooms and when we do the lives are going to get a whole lot more dramatic. Mermaid advisor. Hi. Anyway, I had to do that, model it for y'all.
Well, it is beautiful as argued, darling.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Spilling Some Tea with, today it's just Cessi and Chris, because our good friend Leslie is recuperating from an amazing adventure in Eugene, Oregon, 2 back-to-back Fish concerts. I can't wait to hear all about this. I can't wait to hear about it.
She acts like she's going to get me to go to see Fish next year or whatever. So we'll see what happens, because when she started her podcast, I don't know, you all should know that Leslie has a podcast with her friend Lenny Duncan called Blackberry Jams, which is about Black fish fans and their liberation work, right?
Yep.
And when she told us about it initially, she sent me like the first cut of their first show before it went live, and I was like, this is great. I don't know any Fish songs. And I am a music aficionado. I know something from everybody, and I was like, I know who Fish is. I could not name one song. And so she's like, you're gonna go, we're gonna get a Black girls trip together to go see Fish. And I was like, all right, bet.
Yeah, so definitely I'm gonna try to see if I could tag along on that, because I definitely would love to see them live. I've been listening to Leslie's podcast, which, to be honest with you, I'm with you. I didn't know anything about Fish. Absolutely nothing about them.
Well, I know white people like them.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew when I was it high school? Yeah, I guess they were around when I was in high school. I had heard people, talking about them, and because I did finish high school in California, but I don't know if they were as big of a thing as like now. Like, I think it's because I'm a dinosaur. People younger than me know more people who are into them in college.
It came around, I think, when I was in college, and Dave Matthews Band was really popular then. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's probably when Fish reached their, that I remember people listening to them in college. But I think, Leslie is our show Fish aficionado. Sponsored by Ben and Jerry's.
Right.
Giving you plugs all over the place, Leslie. Go ahead and check out the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast.
Yep, and you can follow them right here on Instagram at Blackberry Fans, Blackberry PHANS, right here on Insta. Anyway, welcome to our show, which is Spilling Some Tea with the Frontline. And we're going to start off with what the streets is talking about. And I have been enjoying myself watching people comment and guesstimate on these Squid Game hood games that we all grew up in love. Like the one that had me really cracking up was the last one I saw, which was opening up a plastic cake or bakery container without making any noise. Right. That one was hilarious. But the one, Dominoes was another one. Spades was one. I think I might be good, depending on how forgiving my partner is. I might be almost good at one round of spades, and then I'm definitely going to get axed.
Partner says for an impossible. I know. Oh, just to give some context about what we're talking about, I know that you all have probably seen the Squid Game, and if you haven't, what are you doing with your life? Squid Game is a show on Netflix, and it's a show about folks who are competing for money. They're in desperate financial times, which I think we all understand right now. And they're promised that the winner of this series of children's games gets to win money, gets to walk away with the money. What they don't know is if they lose, they die. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right, I haven't spoiled anything, but I think we all know the premise. And so the first game they played was red light, green light, and I think that everyone has seen the character with the big face and the eyes with like the beams on them and all that kind of stuff. And so the memes are around, you know, like the games and the Squid Games, and they put a little hood twist on them, you know, Black people.
Yeah, we do got jokes. We do, you know, add our own spin onto everything. But yes, that is completely accurate. So the one that I think surprisingly would catch most of us, especially those of a certain age who are, you know, later in their 40s, is the double dutch. Because I used to kill double dutch. I used to kill it. Well, at least I thought I was killing it. I couldn't turn. I was always called out for being, what was it, double-handed or double whatever it was. But yeah, I have an untrustworthy ankle, and one of my knees barely has any cartilage left. So no, it's a combo boner.
It's all problems. Now listen, I could do double dutch. I can still double dutch. If they told me that I needed a hula hoop, I think that would be a different situation. I used to be a really good hula hooper, but I have a little bit more around the middle than I used to.
Same. Yeah, I can't account for the extra, you know, I call it a bakery. I can't account for the extra rolls I got, you know, a bakery on my back.
It was funny because I had gotten Quinn a hula hoop at one point in time, and she didn't know how to use it and still doesn't know how to hula hoop. But you know, when we were kids, that's what you did. You jumped rope, you double dutch, you hula hoop, you roller skated, you did little hand games, right?
Miss Mary Mac.
Right. My kids can do none of this stuff now. So I'm, you know, so I was like, at least I'm going to teach her how to hula hoop. Nope. This booty and these hips, I mean, and belly. Quinn ruined hula hooping for me. There you go.
You know what? That's my alibi as well. It was the kids. They ruin everything.
Right. But I mean, it's an interesting premise. I think Squid Game is an interesting premise. You know, especially in these times, and talking about how folks are critiquing capitalism a lot, and what would we do in order to get out of debt, and you know how really, you know, this is, you know, the game is set up by some powers that be that are on top of the system and everything. But it also puts a fun spin on it because they are playing children's games that were, you know, Korean games, right? But you know, there's red light, green light, translate. Everybody played red light.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody plays some form of marbles, right?
Yep.
I still don't know how to play the Squid Game though. That is still a mystery to me.
I feel like in the beginning, the way they described it, and then in the end, the way, never mind. That's a spoiler. Never mind. Moving on. I just stopped myself.
It's been out for like a month now. Y'all need to get on it.
But the way it was described, and then the way that I saw it in the show, it was different than I imagined. Even though they were illustrating both, it just seemed different somehow. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand how Squid Game itself is played, but I did enjoy the series.
I'm really trying to figure this out because I live to play games, right? And I can tell you what the point of Squid Game is, the actual Squid Game.
Right.
Um,
Right.
crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Mr. Kyrie Irving and his vax dilemma. I'm going to let you jump into that.
Okay, so and I saw this bright and early when I woke up this morning. Actually, I've been following the story. You know, Kyrie Irving plays sports ball, plays basketball for some team. I don't know what team it is because I have divested from all professional athletics, quite frankly. But you know, that's another time and another show. But Kyrie Irving has been told that he needs to vaccinate in order to continue playing, and he's refused, and so they sidelined him. They put him on the bench. And so, you know, I've seen a lot of folks that are coming out to say, you know, Kyrie is being selfish, like Charles Barkley even came out and had something to say and was wagging his finger at Kyrie Irving, right? Because it's a bunch of anti-vax nonsense, of course. But, you know, some folks are latching on to that and calling him a great American hero, including Chris Brown, you know, because he's an aficionado on anything decent, right? So he has jumped to Kyrie Irving's defense, and a lot of folks are like, you know, Kyrie Irving is like Muhammad Ali and drawing these comparisons between him and other sports figures who've taken a stand, right? And I thought the funny one was Muhammad Ali because in the same breath, I, you know, seem to recall that Muhammad Ali was encouraging people to get vaccinated himself and another, you know, prior to his passing, but there was some other vaccination that he was encouraging folks to get. And I actually found an old PSA, an old commercial where he's encouraging parents to take their kids to get vaccinated for whatever disease this was, right? So to compare him to sports greats for taking a stand, a political stand, is just, you know, pure horseshit.
Yeah.
Dude, go get the vaccine. You know, I mean, go get it so you don't give everybody else on the court whatever it is that you got.
Right.
Right. And I'm sure I know I haven't seen any pictures of Kyrie Irving wearing a mask or anything like that. So I'm sure he's not taking whatever other precautions there are out there. So I don't care. Leave his ass on the sideline, fire him. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I saw posted, I wish I knew who the original poster was, but the quote is, anything that most men like can't be good. And based on that original poster's the static and feedback they received, they even went further to say that based on your responses, I am 100% correct. And what I do know is it was a man who posted it. It wasn't a woman. It was a man who posted it. And it is absolutely true. I mean, if you're, you know, we can also lump that in with what's going on with a certain comedian on a certain streaming network that we're not going to mention right now. What I see is a lot of men caping up for this nonsense. And once again, where they all stand in unison on something is gotta be bad or shitty.
Right. I just don't have the time or energy for folks who don't understand how public health works. I don't have an understanding for folks who don't want to get the vaccine because of their personal whatever. Well, then fine, stay your ass at home.
Yeah.
Right. Don't go out in public where you could expose other people. You have a choice, right?
Right.
You have a choice. All of these people who are giving up their jobs because of the vaccine, you have a choice.
Yep. 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 And that lumps us into the shit I wanted to get off my chest, which was, you know, folks in public service. What is it? Chicago and
all those folks leaving their boots on the steps in Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. We're with you. Stay your ass home. We're with you. Stay your ass home. Like, you know, if you're in public safety, and your job is to protect the public in whatever capacity you have a public facing career, the least you could do is protect yourself and, you know, for your job, protect your family. Getting vaccinated protects you, which then protects your family. Because as we've been mentioning week upon week, there's a bunch of people who cannot get vaccinated. They can't. They have pre-existing conditions. They have other health issues. They have comorbidities that make it impossible for them to get vaccinated. And before all of this, for the parents who made a personal choice not to vaccinate their children, well, they didn't get, you know, special approvals to send their kids to school. They had to homeschool them. And all the unvaccinated kids who were homeschooled together weren't in regular school. And that's, you know, that's the way it has been up to this point. I don't understand how you try to marry personal choice in with public health. It doesn't make any sense. They're two entirely different environments.
Well, that's how you know all of these people who claim that they're public service are a damn lie, right? They don't care about the public. They want their pension. They want to terrorize people, because when we say public safety, we know we mean cops and firefighters.
Exactly.
And they're not there for the public. It's clear, because if they cared about the public, then they go get their asses vaccinated and won't be breathing all up in folks' faces. And the thing that pissed me off, and yeah, hey, Dawn, yes, it was not about people dying. It was the motherfuckers, who got let go because they refused to get vaccinated, laying their boots on the steps of the department or what have you. And then they turned around and went and fed the homeless. Right. And so what they did was they went out and started a line for, you know, feeding homeless people, but not one of them was masked. You know, they didn't get a vaccine. So what were they? I mean, what were they breathing on sandwiches and giving COVID to the homeless? I'm like, stay your ass at home.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, just stay home. You've made your decision, but don't go around giving your COVID germs to everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Full stop.
I mean, FTP all day long, number one. I don't care about any officer that loses their job because they refuse to get vaccinated. Good.
Also, they're overfunded anyway, so there's always that.
Good.
Probably
Probably mall security or try to be an SRO or some shit at school next, but
yeah.
I hope it doesn't work out for you. That's what I
Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on to an individual who is named Joel Wirth. Where have I heard this name before, Chris?
Joel. He is an interesting member of the Chandler Unified School District Board, which is the board where my sister sits. Mm-hmm. They had a meeting last week where they were asked to vote for the Arizona School Board Association to give separate representation on their governing board, on the board, the big board for the organization, to a Latinx person and to an Indigenous person. Because right now, the ASBA has one committee for both Hispanic and Native American folks. Like, they have an affinity group for Black folks, which my sister is the head of that. But they combined all those two groups together. And so you get one representative that has a seat on the big board. And so, you know, in their infinite delayed wisdom, they decided that perhaps they shouldn't treat those groups like they don't have individual and separate concerns with regard to how their students are educated. So let's give them each a representative on the board. And so the school board that my sister sits on was asked to approve that. And the two white men on the board whited up, did their white thing, and they were like, well, we don't understand. And you told my sister that she was marginalizing marginalized groups. One of them said, Joel Wirth, that Kamala Harris is the vice president. And that is why there's no need for representation. To which my sister responded, and much more calmly than I would have, because I would have told both of them to go fuck themselves. But that's why I don't run for things. She told, she was like, I am really disappointed because we have parents parading up here every week talking about how our schools are failing our students of color because they're not teaching the 3 R's. And now all of a sudden, when we're dealing with groups that represent people that represent their marginalized groups, y'all don't have the time for it. And you invoke the name of Kamala Harris, who is not a part of either of the groups that were being addressed that day, So they had to table the item. They removed the item and they'll come back and vote on it next time. But fuck Joel Wirth, you racist piece of shit. I can't wait to see you on the street. Fuck Jason Olive, who had to walk back his comments because he was like, well, I didn't understand. Well, that's what your 2 weeks of prep for the board are. And if you can't do your fucking job as a board member, get out of the way. Let someone else who is actually interested in doing the work have that seat. But Joel Wirth, I know you've been sick, and I'm glad, right? Mm-hmm. I think you are a despicable human being, and you've been despicable every single meeting that you have been present. You are a racist asshole.
Yep.
And I wish nothing but the worst for you. I hope a Mack truck runs over your big toe and you get gangrene. That is what I hope. And I'm tired of dealing with these racist motherfuckers getting on our school boards and making decisions that impact students of color when they don't give a shit about them. It's clear they don't care about Black students. They don't care about Latinx students. I mean, all of it, but I'm trying to keep it kosher, okay? They don't care about Indigenous students. They don't care about our special needs students. They don't care about our SPED students. They don't care about anybody but the little lily white students who already have all of the resources that they need. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm tired. Fuck that dude. I hope somebody plays this at the school board meeting because I'm sure somebody is going to say Lindsay Love got on Instagram and cursed out Joel Wirth. I know that's what's going to happen, but I don't care.
Amen. To that, I say amen. That was a read. That was a whole read. And thank you for that, because even though you did...
Accuse me of being violent, but I've never even been in a fight, okay, in my life.
And your words are valid, not just to Chandler, Arizona. Right here in Cobb County, it's just such a coincidence, Chris, how we have similar attitudes in a completely different state, with a completely different school board, in a completely different county. So amazing how that's possible.
They are coordinating, right? Mm-hmm. They are training people to run for these school board seats, and we are not. Even though I've been standing on top of my soapbox about this since 2017 or 18, right? Which is the reason why we ran my sister for the school board in the first place, right? So they are preparing to take over these school boards and do terrible things. And meanwhile, what we got? Robinette.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a dark time, folks. I need y'all to pay attention. If you are of the voting kind, you got to vote the right way. Mm-hmm. And we need some folks who are really interested in doing the heavy lift of serving on these school boards. And it's a heavy lift. We don't get paid here in Arizona. It's free.
Yeah.
You are volunteering all of your time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's tough, and I'm just over it. And the funny part about this, though, is that They're listening to these white parents that are getting up talking about how they're going to pull their kids out of the school, right? But there was a study that just was published last week that shows that the group that's actually pulling their kids out and homeschooling the most right now, Black folks.
Mm-hmm. Me and you.
Right. Well, because what is there in the public school system for our children if the school board thinks and acts the way that they're acting right now?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the parents that you need to be listening to are the Black parents, the ones that are actually pulling their kids out of the school.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They want us educated.
Yeah. That's the goal. They've made it, well, especially here for me, in this particular time, it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And, in a little bit, well, why don't we launch into that now? The timetable for getting the under 11 set vaccinated for COVID is ramping up. And, I had a conversation yesterday with my youngest, she's 10, with her pediatrician about the preparations that their office is making to accommodate the kids. And she says to me, she goes, well, looking at the time, if everything goes according to plan and we get all our supplies in and everything logistically happens the way it's supposed to, we can have her vaccinated in time to do second semester face-to-face. And that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. But do I really want to send my kid to Cobb County School District with the way they have shown their entire racist misinformation, conspiracy theory, QAnon asses over the past 3.5, 4 months? Do I really want to do that? And then, even before that, I was like disappointed in the reaction to the idea, not the actual curriculum, not the implementation, not even the discussion, but the idea that CRT could possibly be something that schools in general, not just Cobb County schools, but schools in general, might want to do to address racism in actual K through 12 schools. It's not there. Nobody's teaching it there. But the way that, our school board and the superintendent came out real, wrong and strong about, no, we will never have a CRT curriculum here in Cobb County. And me as a Black parent of Black children had me like calculating, well, how many years are my kids actually going to be here? I got one kid who's got 4.5 years left. I got another kid who's got, 7.5 years left. Is this a battle that I need to worry about? And right now, looking at how they've done us in terms of safety and just how they're continuing to dig in with, as horrible as COVID has ramped up in this area over the past few months, I'm strongly looking at definitely not sending any of my kids face-to-face for the rest of this particular school year. And unless something significant changes, they won't be back next year either.
Right. I think I need to move a whole few states over, quite frankly, but that's neither here nor there. That's a discussion. That's a discussion for another. I got a 7-year-old, so we're gonna be school for till the end of time at this point. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I'm so done. I'm so done with it. I'm done with these school board folks. I'm done actually with folks that are in education movement spaces, right? Because I think that they're focusing on the wrong things as well. They're right now we've got a bunch of races where, we had, some ballot initiatives that were put forth to attack the budget, right? Our legislature passed some oppressive budget and passed a flat tax, and that would allow a workaround to the voter initiative that we passed last time, which would raise taxes in order for our schools to be fully funded. And so they're doing this referendum election now, and it's like, okay, that's great, and I need y'all to actually pay attention to who we're electing in the legislature. I need you to pay attention to who's going to be governor. I need you to pay attention to who's going to be on our school boards, who's going to be in our county boards of supervisors, right? Governing by ballot initiative is never a good thing. And they've been silent. The education folks have been silent where it counts. Like, they're not helping us with, voter access initiatives that we've put forth, right? They're not seeing the intersections of their issues with some of the other issues that are part of the larger social justice movement. And it's because our teachers are white women. For the most part, they're white women, so they want to stay in their one little lane over here, and they don't want to deal with anything else without recognizing the impacts that all of these things have, right? So I'm just a little bit miffed with them right now. I am supportive of public schools. I am supportive of public school teachers, but y'all need to get your heads out your asses.
Yep.
And really be out there. Not just sitting there talking about, oh, we want to, this is a nonpartisan issue. Fuck that. It's completely a partisan issue because it's only one party that is really trying to break down public education and make it non-existent. So let's have honest conversations about this. Not because you think that you can win over some independents and a few Republicans or whatever. Let's talk about what the real lay of the land is. And I'm just not seeing it. And because I'm not seeing it, we're going to lose every time. They might get this ballot referendum and they might win. And then the legislature that comes up right behind them will do more damage because that's what's been happening all along. Yep. Right? They make a move and then they don't worry about who's in the legislature. So we have an all Republican legislature and they make a counter move. Right? And enough. Like, get some skin in the game. And I've gone all out of whatever it was we were supposed to be talking about next. I'm going to tell my Rachel Dolezal story.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so
I have been waiting on this story.
I've been teasing this for a couple of days, but it really just happened a couple of days ago. So we were at my auntie's house. My husband's aunt had a bunch of us over the other night, and his cousin was there, or I guess my cousin too, because we're family. So I won't put him out there by himself. But I was telling her how I had been appearing on KTAR, which is our talk radio station here or whatever, and adding like the progressive or liberal counterpoint or whatever. They call me a Democratic commentator, which I feel is hilarious because I have problems with the Democratic Party, but also because I'm not so much of a commentator as a yeller. So, but they invite me on the show because I'm spunky. Right. So I was telling her about that, and she was getting really judgy with me. She's like, well, they're just asking you on for money. And I was like, girl, I'm not getting paid. I doubt they're getting paid for me being on the show. I was like, it's a platform that I can use for other things. Like, they also have me on their liberal show or whatever, and I got to talk about abortion for an hour, right? So it's a trade-off. And she was like, well, you need to send me this and this and this and that. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing, this sounds like work, and I'm not. You can go find it. So at which point we changed this discussion, and she was telling us that she was getting her hair braided by Rachel Dolezal. Y'all know Rachel Dolezal, Miss Transracial Blackfish. Rachel Dolezal, apparently she has set up shop in Arizona. I did not know this because I don't pay attention to that bitch. Apparently she is in Arizona and she does my husband's cousin's hair, and I'm my husband's cousin. And so she was telling us, and you could see that all of our faces were like, Like everybody did the thing, right? And so Michael looked at her and he was like, well, don't tell me you believe in this transracial. Well, you know, and so then at that point, it became a family argument. It was like everyone against her and her, you know, giving credence to this transracial bullshit nonsense that Rachel Dolezal is spouting out. And, you know, my husband and his cousins pushing back, and one of the cousins said something about her hair looks like she gets it done by Rachel Dolezal, at which point I started laughing. Yeah, Lindsay, thank you. She was getting her micro braids crocheted in. Okay, yeah, she's wearing crochet braids. And so I'm sitting on the back with, I'm sitting like on a couch off to the side with Michael's auntie. And we're just over there being shady and laughing. Like, we were not a part of the argument, right? We just let everybody else handle it, but we were some great spectators to the argument. And so I am 1 degree of separation away from Rachel Dolezal because she does my husband's cousin's crochet braids.
We need pictures. We need pictures.
I'm not gonna be that shady, but when the other cousin was like, "Sis, you look like you get your braids done by her," you know, I checked them real close.
Oh my god.
Checked them real close. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Listen, I'm not usually one to put family business on the street, but that shit is so funny to me.
It is funny. It's hilarious. Oh my god.
Right? I called up my sister afterwards. I called up Lindsay after when I'm on my way home, and I was like, "Girl." And she look, this hoe posted, "Oh, I think I'm getting punked by my sister and my brother-in-law right now." I know, it's serious. It's true. It's true. It really happened. It really happened.
Oh
So
my
somebody
god.
said, "Well, call her. What's her number? Call her up." I was waiting.
Just like me. I'd be shady like that too. I'd be waiting. I would be waiting.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And like I said, I had forgotten that she was here. And she's like, "Well, you know," she had mentioned the documentary that Netflix did about her. And, you know, she mentioned that, you know, she's got a black son and this. And, you know, she said something about relating to the oppression or something. I can't remember what it was. Michael, maybe you remember. But I was like, but she's not black. Right? Like my whole, everything that every time I chimed in, I was like, but she's not black.
Yeah.
Well, she feels this way and that way. And I was like, who cares how she feels? She's not black.
Right. Right. Right.
And then I went back to being shady with Auntie. But I mean,
yeah.
So she was going to judge me for going on conservative radio for 5 minutes every few weeks. And she over here putting money in Rachel Dolezal's pocket.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm just.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I'm just.
No, thank you. Well, the last thing we have on our list for who we're fucking up this week. Well, not the last thing, but we do have a couple topics on who we're fucking up this week, and mine has to do with, and maybe I'm jumping ahead a little. Maybe I'm not being fair, but it is Robinette, so who cares? From what I'm hearing about the under 11 set and this vaccine rollout already has me gritting my teeth and feeling like it's some bullshit, because they're saying that, which is good. I think we can agree, you know, having children ages 5 to 11 get their vaccines at the pediatrician's office is a good thing. That is good. Maybe having them get their vaccines at other Department of Health sort of setup situations. They're saying it's not going to be as like, they're not going to have massive vaccine sites like they had for us grown-ups earlier this year, or they still have for us grown-ups, maybe not. But the thing that has my teeth on edge is this whole idea that the same school districts and the same schools, especially in my area, that have vice principals, principals, other teachers, even with full-blown COVID, or kids at home that have been exposed that have COVID, talking and interfacing with kids at school, and these adults are unmasked. The same school district where they don't allow the teachers and other folks at the schools to enforce masking, the same school districts where they don't have mask mandates, and in particular case of mine, where they don't have hardly any of the COVID protocols that were in place a year ago, that they're going to, the Robinette's administration is going to have the vaccine rollout at these same schools for the kids ages 5 to 11.
I don't trust it. Well, especially in a place like Arizona, right, where we've got a governor who is antagonistic to everything. Oh, swears up and down he's pro-vaccine, though. I think that, hopefully they'll be pairing up with, like, the county health department to issue vaccines all across the country. County health departments have been the ones that have been doing the moving and shaking, and I know I've spoken with our family doctor, and she says that she's going to do vaccinations in her office. But here, that's fine for me. I got health, insurance and all that kind of stuff. And, but it's also the cost of a doctor's visit, right?
Yeah, co-pays possibly.
Right. So that, that's a pain. That's, some copay or whatever to do that. But we shall see. I got my little one, Quinn, signed up for the 4th. We've already got, found some place that's confirmed that they're doing them. So she will be getting hers on the afternoon of the 4th, which is the first day they're supposedly available. And so she's like, oh, do I get a COVID vaccine? I was like, what? I was like, yeah. She's like, why do I need one of those? I was like, so you don't get COVID, fool. So he's like, oh, all right. I thought I was going to get a flu shot because she's been talking about her flu shot as well. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be exciting. But yeah, I don't trust the Biden administration to do anything correctly.
No. And even though I normally, I really honestly haven't gotten the flu shot since my kids were toddlers. It's not something that I normally do. The kids, I haven't given them the flu shot, like really since we moved down here. We were living in New Jersey, and now we live down here in Georgia, because I'm like, really, the flu in Georgia? Like, for me, because I'm from up north.
It happens, Cessi. Don't make me don't make me.
I know, but I'm like, in a normal year, normally I wouldn't do it, but this year we did it.
Good. And in a normal year, you need to get your flu.
Well, I think I spoke about this before. Like, I always look at the efficacy of the flu shot, and it's always like, 60% or something like that. And I'm always like,
it depends on what strain that you're getting of the shot.
Yeah,
and all
that's true.
But I got the bird flu back in the day, and so I've gotten my flu shot ever since, right?
Yeah.
Because it's rough. I'm one of those people who has asthma, and so anytime I touch anything, it turns into like some upper respiratory thing.
Yeah.
So everybody get a flu shot. It's going to be a really bad flu season. It's already bad season. And they both came early. Yeah. So I'm encouraging y'all to
go do it. Yeah.
Kyrie Irving. Don't be Kyrie Irving.
Don't be Kyrie. But I also, maybe I am a little Kyrie Irving, because like every year I'm like, I never get sick. And then my Facebook memories come up every February. It's like, I've got, what is it? Bronchitis and strep every year. And I'm like, I'm never sick. The
I do too.
I don't always get it. But
Right.
yeah, so this year we're protected. Everybody got a flu shot. The folks in my house that can get COVID vaccines have been vaccinated. We're moving into bringing us joy. My mom is here, and my mom needs a COVID booster, so we got to set that up. My COVID booster is scheduling is coming up soon, as is my oldest. So that's all exciting to hear. So we are protected.
Good stuff. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but yeah, past years I'm always like, I'm never sick, and then I think right after New Year's I always get laid out with something, and then I'm like, and then I forget about it for a year. Right. But I think down here in Georgia we might have 2 flu seasons, because I kind of think my youngest has been a little sniffly and might have caught something. Here, when you have a new person in the house, it always happens. Kids get the sniffles or whatever. But I know definitely after the holidays, I'm usually the one that's sick, and usually one of the kids gets sick, maybe like a little sniffly, and then we move on, which is why I'm like, oh, we don't need the flu shot, but we do. Everyone needs a flu shot.
Everyone gets a flu shot. When I lived back east, I would get bronchitis every time the seasons changed. When I moved here to Arizona, I get it. I get sick around the holidays every year, and I have to take steroids and all that kind of stuff to get rid of it. So, I'm used to it. So I get my flu shot every year because the last thing I need is the flu and bronchitis. One year I had bronchitis for about 8 weeks, right? Because it's bad, right? I think that was the year I was pregnant, though. But I got my flu shot. I did all the things, but you can never be too safe.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah. But moving on to the slice of joy, I mentioned my mom is here. So everyone that I love the most is all under one roof, which is great. But I forgot that when the grandparents visit, the kids go a little bit crazy. And I also forgot that, it's been a long time. Like, I haven't seen my mom up until she arrived last week. It's been almost 2 years, or actually about 2 years since I seen her. And, we were all like really emotional and stuff. And my mom is getting up on elderly. She's moving a little bit slower than she's used to. She's not as gangsta mommy as she had been in the past, all spicy and whatnot. She needs a little bit more care, but it's been awesome really having her here. But I do have to remember, and this is something I want to share with everyone, even when you do get to have your family around you for the holidays, don't forget your own self-care, because I'm finding reasons to go hibernate in my room and watch spooky season movies just so I can get some quiet time. And Chris, I have to thank you, because is this like your 3rd year doing spooky season? Yeah, because I think the first year, I even told you, even before I saw your spooky season calendar, how, what was it, Hannibal? I couldn't watch Hannibal on TV when it aired, because I was like, it's at night, I'm scared. But now, since I've been doing spooky season, this is the 3rd year, I watched, what is it, You're Next at Night, which is a typical slasher, blood and guts movie. I watched at night, and I was like, yeah, get him. Yeah, and I do have my favorite genre. My favorite genre is slasher final girl. That's my favorite genre.
Yes.
I love it.
That's growth, girl. That's growth.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're no longer scared of your own shadow.
I'm not so much a punk. I mean, there's certain things I won't do. I think I told you I won't do bugs. That's out. I won't do anything with bugs.
Okay, so don't watch 8-Legged Freaks then, which was on last week. You don't want to watch that one. Don't scare yourself like Ashley did watching The Evil Dead. Yourself. Don't watch any of the ones that I recommend next week by yourself, at nighttime, with the exception of maybe Dawn of the Dead. I think whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad. That's growth, Cessi. You've come a long way in 3 years. Let me tell you.
I really have. I've come a long way. So what's your slice of joy?
Oh, I didn't do who I was gonna fuck up, but we can save that for another week because it will be happening.
Oh,
But I do.
sorry.
Actually, I want to fuck up Black Republicans. I was gonna do something different, but I'll save that for next week. But Black Republicans can, get all the smoke. And y'all know Colin Powell died. Condoleezza Rice was on The View talking nonsense. Alan West got COVID. These people get what they deserve. The end.
The end.
My slice of joy, however, is I have two of them. So if you check out my beautiful candy corn earrings here, all the way from the Navajo Nation, my friend Derek and his wife and my friend Danielle sent me these beautiful earrings all the way from Navajo Nation, and there's a necklace, a matching necklace, but I figure you all can't see because I wore my earrings today, and it's because I am team candy corn. Fuck what you heard. Team candy corn represents. So I love that I received this beautiful jewelry. Mm-hmm. Also, I am very excited about my neighbors. So my neighbors, there's not many, people, there are a lot of kids in my neighborhood, right? And so, but most folks don't go like full out, like spooky for Halloween around here. Like I do in the house, like I got weapons and masks and shit all over the place. And, if you turn a dark corner, but for outside, I just haven't been feeling it. Like I got a big spider web, and and I put my dolls out too. So this year, I've been walking in the mornings, and so there's a house down the street and around the corner that had done this thing a couple years ago where they had some skeletons sitting on like hay bales drinking Jack Daniels.
Oh, cute.
Which I appreciated. Yeah. This year I walked by their house like maybe a few weeks ago, and there was a life-size Pennywise in the yard. It was the only thing in the yard, and so I was like, oh, they gonna do something, right? So I walked by, the next day Pennywise was down on the ground, like somebody knocked him over. His balloon was all blown up. Whatnot, right? So I was like, okay. So as I keep going on by their house every day, they're adding new things, right? And so right now they've got a whole like tailgate scene with like an open truck in the back. They've got a skeleton with a mask on grilling a leg. They've got Pennywise. They got, it's been all crazy. And every time I walk by, there's something different, right? So finally yesterday I walked by their house, and one of the owners was out there. She's an older lady. And I was like, I just got to tell you, I love what you do, and you're classing up the neighborhood, right? And so we sat there and we talked for a little while. I showed her a picture of my Halloween tree and all this kind of stuff. And I love that you're committed to doing something every day, because I wanted to do that, and I'm just, I'm tired. So she's like, yeah, this morning I walked by and she was out there with her granddaughter. And her granddaughter is about Quinn's age, so they're about 7. And she was switching up the scene again. And she was like, I was like, I just, again, admire your commitment. Do you mind if I take pictures? So she let me snap some pictures of everything. And then she was telling me, I was like, yeah, I wish I could be as committed. She's like, I have 4 people helping me. Like her and her husband and her grandkids are all out there moving the scene every single day.
Oh, I love that.
It brings me joy every time I walk by. I was judging them at first because they have a big old American flag out. Right. So, I'm like, I'm racist. But turns out they might still be racist, but they're really good at Halloween. They're really good at Halloween, and I am enjoying it, and it makes me very happy that they're doing the things that I had planned to do, but got too lazy to do it. And finally, the last thing that's making me happy is that this weekend, today, in fact, tomorrow, starts the Salem Horror Festival's virtual programming. So finally, I get to use the ticket that I bought months ago to watch their virtual offerings. And so I'm very excited for all of the movies that I'll get to watch this weekend. I'm very excited to just participate in this festival again. I want to go in person next year. Look, I'm trying to set myself up somewhere so I can, so I can go and be in Salem for the festival next year. So I'm really excited about that. And I've got to watch those movies on top of all of my own spooky season movies. This week is Ashley, and Ashley is like a horror novice, kind of like Cessi. But she is jumping, like, I feel like she jumped on spooky season a little bit after you did. Like, Cessi, you were with me at first year.
I was. And I was watching them, like, right after I dropped the kids off to school in the morning. Because I was like, I can't handle this, Chris. I can't handle it.
So, I'm really excited that Ashley decided, she's like, I want to put some movies on the calendar. I was like, whatever you want, darling. And so, tonight, I think it's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Mm-hmm. She's really a Rocky Horror fan. But next week is my week. I got some really good stuff for y'all. And so I'm really excited about horror movies and spooky season. All things spooky season. All of my things were spooky season. Very excited. Very excited. But with that, I don't have anything else except for we can't wait to have Leslie back next week.
Yeah. Next week, Thursday, the 28th.
Yes.
We'll be back.
So excited about that. And then I can rail on all of these Black elected officials in Arizona who are supporting a Black cop.
Yeah.
I'll talk about them next week.
Yeah.
I expect some phone calls because I got some last time I talked about them.
Oh.
So, so I'll save that for when I have energy.
Yeah.
Trust.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank all of you who tuned in to watch our return to Spilling Some Tea. Thank you for being patient with us. We needed a break last week, family stuff and travel stuff and all kinds of stuff. And we will be back next week, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Bye, Chris.
Bye, we'll see you soon.
Kiss us.
You got it. Love ya. Bye, y'all.
Bye.